Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Mondays with Mikayla, another featured young professional episode. I've got Jack here with us. He is our long-term care Medicare specialist here at the office, so have a little bit of a different perspective than some of our other people that we've had on here so far. So, Jack, if there was one thing that you could recommend to young professionals that you're maybe doing now that could help set them up for financial success. So we've heard, hey, contribute to your 401k, Roth IRA. Outside of that, what would be another building block that you think a lot of young professionals miss?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that a health savings account, an
Okay.
HSA, could be a really powerful tool for especially young people to use. Not necessarily just young people, but with the likelihood of having less medical expenses,
Mm-hmm.
being younger is
Yep.
higher. I use it as more of a savings vehicle to be able to obtain some, tax deferred growth and
Yep.
tax free distributions if I need it for medical expenses
Mm-hmm.
or down the road if I pay for my own Medicare
Yep.
or say a long term care event.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily use it as a short term. Hey, I'm going to go to the dentist
Yeah.
or buy my glasses with this. I use it as a long term investment vehicle, which I know I talk to a lot of my friends who have
Mm-hmm.
HSAs and they say, oh, it's great. I can buy, all this stuff on the catalog,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily take that approach. It's more of a long term triple tax advantage approach for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So those of you who don't know HSA, the health savings account, basically you have to have a high deductible plan to be able to contribute. But if you have the high deductible plan, you can put the money in, get a deduction, it grows tax deferred. And then if you spend it on health related expenses down the road, or some people more immediate, like you said, hey, I'm more of a long-term guy, but you can get that money out and not pay taxes on it. So that's kind of the triple whammy from a tax perspective that he was referring to. But that's awesome. And I think that's a really good point. Having a high deductible plan usually lowers your monthly cost for health insurance. And stereotypically speaking, when you're younger, usually you're not getting that high deductible. If you are, then maybe you do want to just opt for a higher monthly payment. But if you're not, it's really smart to have those high deductible plans and decrease your monthly payment.
That's great advice.
So now the big question, being in this industry, being around the successful families that we're with, being surrounded by people who are in finance every day, what's your biggest takeaway from the job that you would want other young professionals who maybe don't have the privilege of having this information every day? What's the one thing that you would tell them?
Uh, the one thing that I would urge them to consider is the eighth wonder of the world, which is, of course, compounding interest. Compounding interest can be a hero, it can be your villain. I've learned through all the successful families that we serve and all the A-plus professionals in our building that time in the market
Mm-hmm.
can be beneficial. It's not always or any time about timing the market. It's
Mm-hmm.
about having time in the market.
Yeah.
So compounding interest in that aspect can be your hero.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be your villain with bad debt,
Yeah.
aka credit cards with an APY of 24% or
Yeah.
higher. What we're seeing, maybe personal loans that have a not a favorable interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
or say a car loan that
Yeah.
right now the loans aren't looking great in interest rates.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Hopefully
down the
get some
road we
cuts.
get some cuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say really uh, educate yourself on compounding interest and just to see what that can do for you down the road.
Yeah, and I think too, I remember something my dad told me about just kind of that the two sides of the coin is like you're either paying someone money or your money's making money. So when we look at, you're if you're taking on a lot of debt or you're living outside your means, you're always going to be paying someone money. Or you can master money, which is, you are the beneficiary of that compounding interest. And just like Jack said, it's time in the market, not necessarily timing. And, it's not like you have to do $1,000 a month for it to make a difference. It's the habit. And we talked about this. It's the habits. It's the building blocks a little bit at a time. And there was some study that came out. I forget the exact numbers, so don't quote me on it. But basically, somebody maximizing a Roth IRA in their 20s, and this was back when the limit was $6,000. It's now moved up to seven. But somebody who maximized a Roth IRA for their entire career and retired at 65 would retire a millionaire at $6,000 a year in adding on the growth in the market just because of compounding interest. So that's huge. Jack, really good advice. I appreciate the take with the
Yeah.
HSA, and we'll talk next week. Bye,
Thank,
guys.